So I'm gonna give you an example. I have here my base render I did before when I was in college. I also have background preference and some people preference. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is to click file for a new project. Then here are the examples. What type or what kind of sizes do you want to make, or size reference? So in this case we're gonna use print. Okay, so you have here 3840 pixels for the width, 2164 pixels for the height, and resolution you can go 200 and higher, depends on you. And background contents, I usually make it transparent. Okay, then click OK. Have your workspace here. Okay, make sure if you want to go to window, workspace, you have the option here if you want to doing 3D, motion, painting, photography, graphic, and web, and for the default essentials. Okay, so you have here your workspace. First, what I'm gonna do is to Command A or Control A for my background, then copy and paste. So Command C, Control C, then go to your workspace and Command V for paste or Control V. Okay, so the picture, the raw picture here is pretty large, so I'm going to resize it. Okay, if you want to click shift and go to the upper left edge here and hold your left click, and you can resize it. Okay, and make sure to align it. Okay, click OK. Oops. Okay, after putting your background, make sure to duplicate your background. You can click right click and click duplicate. Okay, make sure to rename it. Okay, and you can turn it off, or another faster way is to press Alt then drag it. Okay, so now you have your background. What I usually do is put colors in it, that way you can highlight it or make a, what I usually do, I put green for the background. The next thing, so now you can delete this, you can close this. Next, you have your base render, so do the similar step. Command A, copy, Command C, go to your workspace, Command or Control V to paste it. And now you have your base render on your workspace. Okay, so we need to organize every components we put in the workspace. That way it's easily for us to recognize it or to find it. Okay, so this case base render, I'm gonna do this quick and easy. Okay, and you can put color, you can assign a color in that. I'm gonna put, let's say, violet. Okay, so you can go, if you want to fit your workspace on your screen, you can press Z, or you can go to this toolbar here, magnifying glass, then you can click fit screen. Okay, so now that we have our base render and our background, we can now add people on our workspace. Okay, we can select this, cut the camels. I'm gonna use magic wand for this. You can change the tolerance. Easier way to do it is to select this, okay, just got the camels, and again press Command, hold the left click, drag it to your workspace and release. Okay, we have this reference image as well. So again, just you can either use the quick selection or the magic wand, or this lasso tool. Okay, left click, then release. Okay, so now you have your people. So what I'm gonna do is to select this using command, pressing command, holding the command, click, click, click. And what I'm gonna do, I'm going to put it in a folder. That way you can group your components. Okay, so I'm gonna name this people. You can assign a color, so let's make it orange. Okay, so now that we have our base render, our people, our background, so next step is cleaning the file, cleaning your images. Okay, so I'm going to hide people. I'm not gonna hide the background. I'm going to do the base render first. So what I'm gonna do is add clipping mask to it. Just click clipping mask and you will get this white rectangle here beside your base render layer. So what you can do is you can use command I again to invert. See, then you can zoom in. Let's say I'm going to clean this area here. Okay, what you can do is just like use the lasso tool, select it and press delete, or what you can do is like use this brush tool. So right click to adjust the size, or what you can do is whenever, so clipping mask, if your clipping mask is white, that means the image that clips in it is visible. Okay, if your clipping mask is black, like you invert it, it will disappear. Okay, so basically if you use brush tool, then the brush tool is black. Let's say we're gonna make it black. That means all the area that you want to brush with this black color will disappear. Okay, it's like erasing it in the picture. Okay, but it's not. What you can do, if you want to put it back, invert it to white, brush tool to white, restore that area that you made invisible. Okay, so it's pretty much a smart tool for us designer, because the clipping mask will not destroy the overall raw image of your base render or your cutouts. Okay, so you can use X to change the color of your brush. Okay, then I'm going to resize my base render. So basically I'm going to put it here. So resizing is hold shift, that way it will not distort your picture. Okay, click your clipping mask. Make sure to click your clipping mask. If you use your brush tool in here in this picture, you will paint your picture. Okay, so make sure you clip your clipping mask to delete. Okay, next step, I'm going to blend my base render to my background. Okay, so what you can do is by using your adjustment layers. Okay, this is a pretty helpful or smart tool to blend your components to your background or to some of your workspace. First, you can add color balance. Okay, so you're adding this color balance adjustment layer. Okay, so make sure when you add your adjustment layer to a specific image or component, make sure to press Alt, then drag your mouse here
and you will see this icon. Just click it, and that adjustment layer will going to the base render only, not the overall pictures or overall components under that adjustment layer. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So let's say this one is not attached to this picture, so you add this color balance adjustment layer. If you edit it, you will see the effect is on the whole picture, like the whole picture under that adjustment layer. Okay, but if you press Alt and you see this icon here and you click it, it will only clip that adjustment layer to this specific component or specific layer. Okay, that way you can change that base render or any image and blend it to your background or to your workspace. Okay, so we will going to blend the base render to the background. Okay, well, you can also add adjustment layer to this background itself. That way, if you have trouble blending your base render to the background, you can adjust the background itself. Okay, so add adjustment layer, make sure to press Alt and clip it. Okay, then you can adjust your background. Make sure everything blends to each other. Okay, then what I'm gonna do is to clean my base render. So you have this sharp cut here. What you can do is just use your clipping mask, brush tool, make sure it's the clipping mask and the brush tool is opposite to each other. Then you can adjust the size and the type of the brush you're using. Okay, so I'm going to zoom it. And brush it. Okay, you can change the opacity, making sure it blends to the ground. Okay, so you see here plants are not good, like the leaves. What you can do is to apply defringing or defringe. Make sure you click on your picture, go to layer, matting, defringe. Okay, and click OK. Make sure it's 1 pixel. If that doesn't work, second technique is to lock it. Then use your stamp tool or clone stamp tool. Press Alt somewhere, then you can paint it. Okay, or you can use the brush tool. Make sure you pick the right color and then just color it. Okay, so opacity, go to hard type of brush. So oops, so you can paint it. Okay, so this part here is not blended in an accurate texture. What you can do is you can select it, select this part. You can add another adjustment layer, which is probably add saturation, hue and saturation. You will select only the one that I selected, and you can adjust the saturation on 37 so you can see it blended in this part. Just reduce it somewhere here. Probably you can adjust the lightness, you can adjust the hue. Something like now. somewhere here. There you go. Okay, just add a little bit more. There you go. There you go. Okay, if you see it affects some area, you can just click the brush tool and delete it. Oh, press X to change it and just delete it. Okay, probably we can add brightness to the base render. So again, make sure on the base render, click adjustment layer, brightness, or levels. Let's try levels. Okay, to make sure to clip it, and you can adjust it. You can lighten it using the levels. Okay, just play around with it. Okay, so without the level, it will gonna be like this, but with the level, it brightens up. Okay, you can delete that if you want. You can customize it. Okay, just use the brush tool. Make sure it's you have the right type of brush, right size. Then again, brush tool, make sure it's black on the brush tool and white on your clipping mask. Okay, then you can delete that layer, that level layer. Okay, so next step, we just want to make sure we have the right value. So you can use again your adjustment layer and adding black and white on it. Okay, and make sure you put it on the color. Okay, there you can see your values, or what needs to be dark, what needs to be hazy. Okay, so let's try this one. Our base render should be like a little bit darker, so what we can do is adjust our levels. Okay, so let's adjust our levels somewhere here, making sure it's kind of dark because it's closer to the viewer or closer to our point of view. Okay, and you can just make it invisible. There you go. Okay, you can apply your flipping canvas thing. That way you can see your errors like sun direction or color something, or you can press R to rotate just to refresh your eyes. Okay, and put it to 0. Okay, so next thing is our people. Okay, so we will add probably the camels, like this guy here. Probably we can put it somewhere around here. We'll see. Okay, so transform it. Control T or Command T. Hold the shift, and you can scale it. Okay, make sure it's proportion. And what we can do is just add clipping mask. Then use the brush tool, make sure it's black because it's white here. Then we can edit it. Use selection mask. Duplicate it, press Alt, left click, then drag down. Okay, so you duplicated it. White edges on the side of the camel, so we can just lock the layer. Make sure you use the clone stamp. Press Alt to find your texture, then you can just color it. Okay, simple yet effective. Use it here. go. The brush tool. Okay. So around that, like that. Okay. Okay. Let's just do it quick and easy. Okay. So now that you have your people clean, we can add adjustment layer to it. Use color balance. I always use color balance for the initial process of my components. Okay. Again, make sure you press Alt and it's clip, and you can adjust the shadows. Okay. So make sure shadows are similar to your cutouts. Background shadows, base render shadows. Okay. Not too much adjustment in your color balance. You don't want to mess up your picture, your component. Okay. Similar process on this picture here, this component. So adjustment layer, color balance, make sure it's clip, Alt click, and then adjust it. So not too much adjustments in here. Okay. And then you can turn on your black and white adjustment layer again. Make sure it's on the color. Okay. Then go to your people. Okay. So again, rule is anything that is closer to your camera is darker. Okay. So you have your cutout picture here. Add your levels. Okay, make sure it's clip, then you can adjust it. There you go. So it's going to be a little bit darker because it's near on your camera. There you go. Okay, so in this part, this picture here should be same value as your base render. Okay, so add level and make it a little bit lighter. Okay, so you need a good eyesight, a good understanding of colors and how light impacts your components or your cutouts. Okay, so let's turn it off, black and white. Okay, and you can press R to rotate it, just refresh your eyes. Okay, there you go. And you can do like command 1 to flip it. Okay, there you go. So if you can see the light, the light impacts here. You can see the light source is going in this direction. Okay, so we need highlights too in this area. So we need to boost the highlights in that area just to show like realism in there. Okay, if you want to go to your cutouts, to your people cutouts, what you can do is either you can use dodge tool, make sure like you can put exposure as 100% as you want. Then you can choose It's either shadows, midtones, or highlights. Okay, so we will use 100% for now to see the effect of that tool. Make sure it's locked so you can see it will highlight this area here. Okay, so in this case we're gonna use only like probably 25, 24. Then we're gonna use this type of brush, not too hard. Okay, then highlight that area. Okay, there you go. Let's see. Okay, not too bad. You can adjust the saturation for this one. So go to saturation, adjustment layer, make sure it's clipped, and we can lower saturation. Let's see here, somewhere here, and let's not touch the lightness. Okay, so for this guy here, we can probably adjust the opacity, but not too obvious. Okay, if you want to add shadow for that, you can duplicate this layer. Well, let's try to add shadow, or you can add shadow somewhere here on the rear part of the camel. Again, we can use adjustment layer for that. Go to exposure or brightness, or let's go to exposure. Okay, so make sure it's clipped. Again, it's a clipping mask, adjustment layer. Lower your exposure. Okay, something like this. I'm not gonna touch the offset or the gamma correction. Okay, so again, it's a clipping mask. You can use your brush tool to delete it. Okay, there you go. Just to make that like a little bit shadow in that area. Okay, okay, then you can adjust again. There you go, something like that. Okay, if you want to add physical shadow, you can do that. Just duplicate this layer. Okay, so you now have 2 layers of this. Control T. Okay, so press Command or Control, then drag your mouse on this point, then you can distort your shadow. Okay, okay, let's try that one. Okay, so you now have this picture. What you can do is you can add adjustment layer again, exposure. Oh, we forgot to clip it. Okay, just Alt, click, so it's clipped. Then reduce the exposure. Okay, make sure it's black. Then again, it's clipping mask. You can use your brush tool to delete excessive part. Okay, oh, not that one, this one here, picture itself. Okay, just clean it. you go. And then you can reduce the opacity. There you go. So if you want to, if you can see, shadow here is a little bit green. Okay, let's use selective color adjustment layer. Make sure you press Alt and clip it. Then we can change the black area. So if you can see, it's kind of green on that part, or bluish green. We can make it a little bit green. Okay, and then you can adjust opacity. If you want, you can go to filter, then you can go to blur, or you can go motion blur. Okay, something like that. So just to make it realistic. Okay, press OK. Just opacity. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to fast forward and do the rest of the people here. Okay. Okay, for my final touch, let's say you already have your components added in your workspace, you already adjusted them. You can add a color lookup adjustment layer. So this thing here is very helpful in your post-production if you have like a 3D LUT file. So if you drag it down, you will see a bunch of presets for the LUT, and you can choose as many as you want, or you can combine them. So let's say you have tension green, so you have teal, you have soft warming, you have sunset, etc, etc. Okay, so what you can do here is you can be creative enough to combine them. Okay, so let's say you have your sunset or your fall colors in here. Okay, so what you can do is just like, again, it's a clipping mask. Invert the clipping mask using Command I, so it disappears, but you can click your brush tool, make sure it's opposite for the brush tool, it's white. Use the soft brush, okay, that way it's not gonna be like sharp, it's not gonna be sharp. Or you can add another LU for color lookup. You can add, let's say, foggy night. Then again, it's a clipping mask. You can go to opposite and you can delete that part. Okay. Okay. If you want to tweak that color lookup adjustment layer, you can add another adjustment layer. You can go to color balance, make sure it's clipped on that adjustment layer. Then you can change your color balance. Okay, to wrap everything up, technical skills can be learned along the way. It is useful to save time and speed results to meet deadlines. There are tons of videos, tutorials in YouTube which you can learn for free, but you need to be creative and attention to detail in order to deliver powerful images. Okay? You should know how to observe lightings, shadows, proportion, reflections, and create stories from your compositions or post-productions. Okay? And simplicity is beauty, so less is more. And I can't say this enough. Post-production is one of the easiest way. I mean, you can do this in 3D. You can do this by matte painting, by photo bashing. It's whatever best for you at the end of the day. And post-production really with just simple technique, basic skills, and basic knowledge. You don't really need to know how to draw or to paint. You can just need few simple techniques and push your eye and creativity into the right focus. Okay, guide your viewers' eyes and you can make great composition. And if you have any questions or anything you think I can help, Adrian can provide you my email. And thank you.